just
keep doing what we're doing, but
yes.
do it good.
Well, we do. I mean, look, the clerical end of this thing, I don't think you can do any better. I mean, I don't want to give these guys a salt head or anything, but I mean, I don't think it can be. I don't think the clerical end of a 500-team league can any better than this one ran last year. Maybe it can, but I don't think so. The second thing is we're real careful with the money. The money is transparent. It's up on the board. So it's fair. It's open. It's all run. That's all we can do. And we're probably the only ones given anything the kids going to college, a little bit that we do give. And secondly, the only ones that have done anything for referees. So, we're
giving back this past year, giving back to the winning teams and helping them support.
So but that's all our role is. That's all our role is. If people don't
leave the guys,
if that doesn't succeed, it doesn't matter because we'll all of our members, all of us will be in another league that will be different. I think we're past that point, though, Gerald. An executive director now would be moot because you got 500 teams, maybe 25 clubs, and I think something's going to come. It's not going to be in this league, though. It's some other entity that's going to come and try and piece together something for the independent clubs, probably some kind of affiliate type of thing. And that you'll see in the next 2 years, because otherwise, everyone will have been bought up. I would tell everyone, all the 6 of you out there, if you have clubs, don't sell cheaply. At least $500,000 got to be worth the thing now for the fields and the FYSA thing. I don't. $500,000, you're not doing well, including you, Gerald. I'm serious. I mean, I think they were not. You get these 3 guys bidding against each other. We've got 3 large entities around here. You get them bidding against each other, you can probably do pretty well. But then I came away with FYSA. There was no doubt this one was confused as I've ever seen as far as the direction. Everybody's headed somewhere else, and everyone's looking outside, hoping to get to that next whatever it is. That next step. Well, no, I mean, FYSA doesn't recognize. FYSA does not recognize the existence of U.S. Club.
No, that's a foolish thing.
I know, well, but again, they're a constituent. FYSA will probably be taken over by these clubs sooner or later, or out of it where they will be not relevant. One of the two is going to happen. If they are part of there's 9 clubs and they have enough votes because hell they got together right now, they could probably get anything they wanted. 3 clubs around here, 6,000 kids, 3 of the Bs, right? And then you go down south, you got a couple more of them. They get together and show up and vote, they can get whatever they want, or they'll all be out of it because it'll be irrelevant. They won't need it. And trying to get around it, but they could use it if it's there. They'll just get rid of the guys that are there and they'll get another crew. Because they're fields and money. Got enough fields and you have enough money. This is a good deal. This is workable deal. Yeah, it is. But having 75 of them would be good. That's the point. That's what they're taking over. That's the key thing. Is the public funded fields. That's this whole thing run. Billions of dollars that are invested mutually in tax-paid fields. So.
For ECU over there, whatever they're
doing on, but I mean,
the fields.
But the guys are driving Maserati, so who cares about the fields?
Here's the minutes from the last meeting. Virtually, nothing much other than. It's fizzled, huh?
Steve, you're still out there, right? Are we off?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still out here, yeah. I did my speaker.
We can. But I mean, did you get anything more? I mean, with the
No, not really. I mean, a lot of changes coming down the pike, and I think they were just trying to, kind of us a little heads up and stuff, not to try to panic us or anything like that. Then you had restructuring of the board directors, so to speak, where you had the reading in the DCs or whatever, or
right.
So that
get it down to a more manageable voting thing. We don't
yeah,
have to put
so I think they got it down from 39 to 18 or something like that, and vote members, but they were going to, try to keep it regionalized where at least they could have kind of say in it at the regional level.
You can see right away they're going to appoint, the one guy will be elected, the other guy will be elected, and then there'll be a third guy, and then they'll appoint two. Yeah.
That was a big issue.
Y'all think that your commissioners are worthwhile, but I can tell you from experience, they have the weak link in the organization.
They either don't use them or they can't find them. That's the two.
They don't know anything.
Yeah. Well,
and then the other big.
They were included in the management structure.
No, I can guarantee you that district commissioners historically, given information, given instructions, did not follow it, which is the reason.
Well, they had the wrong. You would fire. I mean, if I had a business and I had people out like that, then you fire them.
How can you? What?
Well, or
Thing too is
not anymore.
No.
They got rid of them already.
They're gone.
Well, they're gone next year. By next year, now I don't know what.
I emailed to Donna and came back and.
I don't think anybody.
I'm saying district commissioners as a whole are.
The structure was never used either, but I mean, it doesn't matter.
They were necessary at one time, but once computers came, and you didn't have to have somebody to stamp that hat and stamp on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, that was their main purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That was the only thing they really did.
And when you expected them to read and pass on information,
well, that's what I'm
most of
saying.
the time they gave out wrong information. I guarantee you.
But at this point, they don't get any information, so.
That's why I always say go to the FYSA office. You want something you can believe, you go to the FYSA
let's get to these. Let's take a look at the minutes. Anybody, Mary, you're going to,
It's pretty much it. Was the coaches meeting?
Want to make a motion to accept the minutes? You can't, but Mary can.
I guess I make a motion.
Yeah, how about you, Steve? Will you second?
I'll second it. Go ahead. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any ayes? Next.
Back here.
You got to know this weekend. I mean, that's the real important thing. The large amount of bodies we can get there. We do have a board opening that Kurt resigned, and we have an opening. We have a nomination from Kai for Kai. Yeah, he'll replace Kurt, basically. I went to Braden River, I said today in the email, I went to Braden River, and he finally, said, I'll kick somebody up. Then he called me and said, well, I'll do it. So I said, okay, well, we'll take a vote, I think, today for he's the at-large, that's what Kurt was, an at-large board member. That's what we have open right now.
He qualifies at large.
Kai, Wilmer, and three of the guys already, if you vote, Steve, Mike, and he said, that's great, good. So, for me, it's a fourth. I don't know about Melissa or Brian. I haven't heard from Melissa. I haven't heard from.
Email on it, did I?
I don't know. I sent you one.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were having trouble with it.
I don't hear, Merit, if you haven't changed your number, your email address, you're on this thing, but it may not be right. I may have the right one. That works. Sent it out today, just saying the guy was willing, and a few guys said it. Yes, I sent it today.
Oh, okay, I probably have.
So,
okay, it might be on my payroll.
No. Wait, we're going to appoint Kai. Would you, just say we already had four of the 7 members agree or vote on it, so we're good. But I think in the bylaws I can't appoint them anyway myself. So either way, yeah, So, I mean, we're a point guy. He's a good guy. He's been in at it for a long time, and he's from that, you want relation from these larger clubs. We need to keep it and get it and have some people looking us in, telling us what they want to do. Because otherwise we just, we're lost. Next, Linda.
So is that a?
Yes, and he's been approved. So I'm hoping he'll come Saturday as a board member to help us.
Well, I talked to him. He said he wasn't showing up. He didn't get a shirt.
Oh, wow.
I don't have shirts.
No, and I might.
You can have mine.
Well, both of you could probably.
Well, actually, we could just both fit in that one. Double, super extra large.
Okay.
Right.
I'm going to get home this. This is the profit and loss. That is how much we took in $127,000.
Is that final as of Joe?
No, that's only through August 10th.
No, I'm talking about last year's. We've closed everything out. We closed everything out.
Starting
Correct.
July 1st.
Okay.
There's still more income coming in, and we put it at $115,000. Almost $127,000.
We're didn't lose 10%.
No, we didn't.
Right, but we budgeted 10% less, and we met it, so we know that.
We have now taken, today we have more income than we did last year.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well, we have more teams.
Just never seem to get the money in this quick. I mean, the money is coming quickly. That's because just collecting it.
Let me tell you, you do all this
Cost
work,
us $1,000 last year to find out.
and if you don't have it in, I'm asking you.
You know what? We're true to our word, and we've, put fines and late fees, and people have now adapted to it, and they don't.
You convinced me of this, and for all in China, and I'm a believer.
This is how it's broken down as of the bank balances as of August 10th. As I said, there's like $100 has come in since then, and I expect another $700. So just letting you know, there's some money coming through the credit card and all that stuff. The balance sheet, so it shows you that as of August 10th, we had $271,000 in the bank. One is.
Well, that should show what we still have in that other account, correct? Can't see that.
Wait a minute, they're right there.
You've got an account that you use, but you have another account, right?
Account. $100,000 plus. And there's.
That's your. Is the account?
Which is at 30,000.
No, 4,900.
How much?
4,900.
Okay, that's the price. 31,000.
So that's the active. What do you keep switching money from the one?
The account. Electronic.
Right. That's good. And so we expensively what they are now. Some of them did yes. And we have savings or a backlog, even if we are a little bit over. Last year we hit, as we mentioned last time, we were a tad over, but that's pretty good. Guessing at $140,000. And I'm telling you, between Ryan and Linda, it's difficult to spend anything. I mean, we're yeah. I'm Dutch. I mean, I don't like to spend money either, so you got a cheap crew here. So I think we did well, but we spent it in good areas. So,
say frugal, not really cheap, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Frugal. Yeah. Good job.
So,
Let's say budget versus actual, as of the 10th, okay, remember, there's a little bit more money coming in, but nothing of any consequence. That is, and of course, we'll see expenses as the year goes on. That's it for the budget. That was, okay, that's, no questions on it,
nope.
you know?
Nope. All right. I'm assuming, Al, Melissa, Mike's not here, but I know we were set up for a, I see you and he are going back and forth on the emails, just trying to.
He told me where to put them in. I put them in, and then I said, well, we're missing this.
Right. Yes. So you were adjusting them at some point.
Yeah, because I mean, we had things come in.
What he called me last week, I guess, one in the mornings, and said, one of the problems is, and we're going to have to talk about it early. And I was really not enough. We have teams. I mean, there's so much egress and in and out of these leagues and everything else that are regular relegation promoted. What's starting to happen is we're getting overwhelmed with the problem between having the best competition, having the densest competition, meaning having the most teams that are roughly close to one another in talent. First, the Lloyd's team, and teams don't even stay together. I mean, we're same names are the same, but I mean, if you looked at now we allowed the clubs to to keep the team spot. One we did a couple of years ago, and it hasn't worked out too badly, but it's not clean. I mean,
it's going to be a problem because
we've had all kinds of issues with it. And you hit the mic, Steve. Well, yeah, but that's even the teams aren't even uniformly the same. But we have said the club owns that. So regardless of the kids' league or whatnot, the club at slot. So if there's a solution, I don't have a solution. I mean, all I have is an issue. I don't know what to do.
Well, who's brought this up, Mike? You said.
He can see with this thing, you've got all kinds of teams moving back and forth that are and one like Florida is a good example. I think they came in with a bunch of teams.
I don't know who the heck is who in Florida anymore. So
Well, I don't even know what Florida is, but I mean, regardless, they came in with some teams that have are good teams. Tarpon Springs ended up absorbing the guys down in. Now that's going to be a problem next year because they put. Well, when does that take place? When does that law actually take place? It says that. Well, that's what's related to the bylaws, right?
What's that?
No. The one we voted on and it passed was that when you reaffiliate, you are saying that you have not used fields more than 15 miles from your. That wasn't in last year.
No, it wasn't. That was the bonus extension because
when they reaffiliate
with Baden River, because that's why Sheba didn't have home games, because the moment they had a home game, they were going to break the law as it was currently written that you had to play a home game.
We had nothing in there. Now they put in it was Dave's girlfriend, Jen, and she got it in, and it was the wording was good. Basically said that you were also, when you reaffiliate, you were also or whatever you want to call it, that you have not used any fields more than 15 miles, either practicing or playing home games. 15 miles from your club, your center, what is defined as your club. Like you see Tampa, the home club Schimberg, so that's where the 15 miles starts, right? So Lutz and Carrollwood, and all the other ones all fall within 15 miles, so no problem. This with Tarpon, for instance, and that would lie more than 15 miles away, so they can't just patch them over. Now they can for this year because that was not in there. You know, and those are decent teams. I mean, we know, you know, everybody's.
But changed clubs. So
I don't even know if they changed. I don't know what they did.
Let me give you the truth.
You know,
The team with the entire Liverpool group was with West Florida Flames last year. That's where they were registered.
Well, but again, they were the same better women.
Well, they left West Florida Flames. Now was Tarpon. So
That happened.
during the summer, West Florida Flames would not grant them the team accounts, so they had to create new accounts so they appear as new teams. However, West Florida Flames has earned the right to the Liverpool spots because earned by those teams.
Their
Right.
example. Have teams. Now with Tarpon.
And that's
Same
what
teams.
Yeah, the exact same teams, all the players and
Now,
coaches moved.
the two things you do is one is.
But they're playing about.
They're playing out there. Now that's got to add, something's got to give at some point next year.
So that's not our problem.
Well, it will be when you go to see these teams, because you're saying that, look, let's put one of the issues is you're going to know we're organized and good down in the third division and somewhere, and they're going to beat the living tar out of stuff.
So then you're back to round robin.
But we can't, you know, I mean, the Robins didn't work because nobody wanted to host them. They were a headache.
Yeah, you know, you can't face in one game, one or two games. You know, I
we
mean,
had 3 games over a weekend. It would be better if it was seeding. It was
just one weekend.
Good, but it was. I mean, we used 16 fields or something. And this Sunday, when people figured out they weren't, they didn't make it because they played well Saturday. They just didn't show up on Sunday. So it was really a cluster.
What we have to look at are the promotion relegation rules. They do not work because we are not the only game in town. If we were the only game in town, they would work, but they don't work anymore.
So there's got to be some. There's got to be some middle ground between that where negotiation is open to arguing. And
Well, then you let the coaches.
well,
that's right, Merritt.
Do it with a firm hand, knowing the truth and knowing you really are
That's-
trying to
Well,
get.
I mean, we control it, but we let them to say, well, like we do. Sparks says, well, we're not a Division I. We would like to go down. And Flag City, the new team, went up. You know, everybody agreed to that.
It's easy in these age groups. It is particularly odious because you've got so much movement in children and teams, and so a lot more. There's going to be more.
Well, the C's got to step in.
Well, somebody's got to step. I mean, Saturday we're going to step in because we're the only ones there that are going to say, all right, let's sort this out. Where were you? Who you got? Now they are going to swear they are, you know, probably the under national team or national team. Yeah. But we've got to use. Somebody's got to use their wisdom. Mike's going to be there. You're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Linda's going to be. So I mean, somewhere in there we'll come to a conclusion that not everyone's going to like, but we're going to have to make scrambled eggs out of what we had was easier before.
Out of broken egg.
Yeah, it's not horrible, but it's Mike was saying he's certain. He said there's 4 or 5 issues in here embedded in this.
Well, Mike put them all together and then we'll sort it out.
That's right.
He's got to
start. He's got to start. But I think between him and Linda, he kind of did, and then Linda added whatever we needed to. So we're off and running. But it's going to be we've got that's an issue we've got to rationally address in some way.
Personally, Paul,
problem, Steve. Another one where you have kids coming up from 12 when I spent a half hour not arguing.
It's difficult in the boys, but in the girls. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Merritt really kind of hit the nail on the head. Is that we allow them to request their decisions. They'll put in there what they think they are. And we'll get. So I'll see them by way they think they are. I mean, and put it out there, and then I wait for emails to come in if anybody says, well, that person shouldn't be there. For the most part, I don't get those emails. There'll be a couple of little questions, but it's more so of, what team wants to go into first division.
Yeah. But the boys definitely more of a.
But the boys are more difficult because there's a lot more teams. But but to the part, I think. But we got to trust the coaches, and if they meet us, then the next year we think twice about putting their team in our league. You know what I mean? And
I gotta remember to follow up. I mean, even last year when we put teams, I knew 3 of them. I followed them. The Temple Terrace team we put into a higher division. They did rather well, so they were telling the truth. We kind of knew that, but the team.
Document that and track that.
Well, Linda can do it if we just put.
I knew what teams you want to track. I mean, it's real simple. You see the standings at the end of the year.
Right, exactly. But you're right. So, but out of all those teams, we only want to.
No, the only.
Yeah, well, just.
We just need to get that to Linda or Sherry and tell them, hey, here are 4 teams. Let's just take a look at what happens at the end of the year. So they say, hey,
we need to consciously do that.
Here.
Because I don't know. We don't know who you are.
Well, okay, so I'm putting that on you.
Well, whoever runs that, I'm not going to be running every one of the things. So if you've got a team that is sworn up and down, the other coaches have agreed, and we're ready to go. Look, there was a team from Pasco, whatever they call themselves, last year that but last year there was something else. But I mean, whatever they were, the coach came to me at the FYSH and said, Frank said, look, this guy normally will tell the truth. He isn't bullshit, and the team's probably good. The team did okay. I mean, they weren't horrible, so he was relatively. They should have been in the division we put them in, but not. I mean, they weren't 9-1. They were, but they were middle of the. Yeah, no. I agree. But there were 2 other ones, and I'm not even sure. But that's the one. North Fort Myers was another one that we went to a year ago. If you remember, they came in late. At the end, we put them up. I don't know what happened to them. That's what happened. Just John. I thought senior thing.
You need to help us out with that.
But
I'll have them printed
the
out.
senior meetings came off clean because they were well organized to start. She had it.
Well, that's it. You just got to have a game plan.
And everybody enforced. We had enough labor there to have 1 or 2 guys at every mentors at one of these things. And the little things we had to deal with, we had a couple of them, we got through fairly quickly. We just. So this isn't going to be as simple, but it's still the same decision-making paradigm. You do the best you can with what you got. Not everybody's happy, but 500 teams, you're not going to have any. Happiness is not something you really strive for.
Well, like I said, it's all in the semantics. So it's Bundesliga and.
Yeah. Well, but that's the truth. I mean, the thing is, we don't want to be in. See, we don't want to be in the second division. We don't want to be in the second division, so you don't have a second division. You never have a second division or third division. It's the first 1 triumph and 1 plus or something. I mean, that's the stupid thing you can do that will just irritate everybody, but it'll at least show them in a light kind of way that man, you're still the third. You're still in the 3rd division. But we're not calling it that to the power. We're happy, but that's where we're in now.
We're in slide.
All right. So anyway, that's the labor. Kai's going to tune in. Is Kai gotten in because he's trying to tune in tonight? And hopefully we'll see him Saturday. Well. I heard that about FYSA. Everyone said, he better come. I didn't say how many. So congratulations, you're a board member. I think you're going to be fantastic.
Let me see if I can.
That's all right. I know what it sounds like.
All right. The next.
He's a good guy. He's going to be a good addition.
The referee classes are well. There are meeting with referees all over the region. Eric can't make it, we got a DRA or
How does the show up? The same as last year? I mean, a lot like last year?
I've been to two so far, and they were both well attended. We had a bunch of people. Last night, there was 40 signed up, and there was at least I know in there.
Yeah, then they were bringing in chairs because there wasn't enough chairs. They were bringing in
That's all you can do.
Anyway,
That's all we're going to do.
so we had 40 signed up.
And some other places, I mean, we've been just as crowded. Yeah, I mean, some are weak, some are crowded. What we're hearing is, you know, in C3 that didn't come to the class that was held there. Now, you know, well, aren't you coming back to do another one? I said, no, we made arrangements with the DRA. We had a huge venue. 4 signed up, 17 came. These people signed up and didn't come.
But, well.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you're getting 20 or 30.
The two I've been out, they were stellar.
Well, and some of the, I guess, hopefully that they'll talk to the refs and say they, you know, one I heard, which I surprised last year, that was a word I ever went to. That's ridiculous. So I asked the guy, and he said, no, it's great, man. It was really good. And maybe in a couple of years they get tired of it. But so far, last year, the only guys I knew said, you know, it was really worthwhile.
The one guy last year that came and started mouthing off at the beginning of February, complaining about why we here and da-da-da-da-da-da. Last night, he was front and center, and he was so attentive and part of the conversation.
Well, beginnings of all things are small, but the referee thing, we know we've got an enormous problem looming, and guys will figure out an answer. Somebody will tell us what we need to, how we can help, because that's all.
No,
because FYSA and FSR aren't going to do anything.
Exactly, and that's what I love about this, and I think they're responding very positive.
You know, I always feel we're working at it, but when I go over to those things, I feel like they really would really wish we just go away. So, FSA, the big clubs, you know, I mean, it seems like we're really an irritant to everybody else. That's okay. I mean, that's the impression.
They're not doing it.
Not here. But I mean, you're talking about the referees, and we're saying, look, we're trying to do something. Who cares about referees, man? How much did he make last year?
Well, one that we're really trying to get with the referees is if you've got out of control coaches, that the referees have to take action and dismiss them from the field, and then take action.
Do you know at the AGM came to be a big item? I don't know if you were there, Gerald, weren't you? And they were trying to. One of the bylaw changes was that if they remove parent, the kid goes to. Yep. And that was Marino or something. That was from one of the guys from FS. If they ban the parent, the child's banned also. That was action. Now that didn't pass. It didn't pass, and I mean all of the reasons came. Enough. So he comes. Or you got to prove it's a parent. If they say they're not, we're going to have to do DNA testing. You know, there's a lot of real sticky problems. You're punishing the kid for the parent. What Marino was getting at is it's gotten so, in his opinion, and I would say we were slightly better actually.
Yeah, but he sees a lot of himself. Yeah. And it's a lot tougher down here.
And he said it's gotten so out of hand. They got to do. These solutions are now called. That's basically what he said. He said, I don't know what to do.
I just feel like you got to put pressure on the director.
And that came out. I mean, I think everybody said it. We've said it repeatedly here. It goes the coach. The coach can't do it. The club can't do it. And we have told people we've got 2 clubs we've already warned and said you're at one more thing and you aren't going to play in the league anymore. We don't care because we can't have any more of this. If we got any worked or not, but we'll do it and we'll do it. You know. Got to do it. In other words, that's what if you have repeated
But
problems.
the other leagues do not, the other clubs don't want to go play them.
They should have to.
So
They should have to go to a match and wonder if you're gonna get beaten up in the parking lot, or you're gonna have to listen to.
So we don't want to
Yeah.
put them in.
That came. It was so they felt.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Market.
So anyway, that's a no. So that was one of the things that was beaten back, and I think again we're just honestly trying to do the best we can with all of these issues, and that's all you can do. You know.
Actually, we had a good. They said we had a good season last year.
Well, but the referee thing is still worthwhile doing, huh?
Oh,
Why not?
You know, and Frank was also our Frank was elected for he's on the board now at FYSA. So I don't know. I guess we got our Frank Vilsack.
Oh,
VP.
okay.
He's now on the board. He's now on that position. I don't know what happens to it in this whole reconfiguration. But the fact is, he's a ceremonial member of our board, more or less. And I think he can get away. With it. I'm not positive. And he shouldn't be on the FYSA board. Shouldn't be able to serve on this one. But really, I mean, he isn't participating much this year. I don't know if he's going to find out if he thinks he says this is just the ceremonial thing that he's former. He's the last one. We appointed him on the board as a
President.
yeah, just to keep his opinion there. Yeah.
Ideas and input.
Yeah. And
So, well, let me ask, how are DRAs helping out as far as?
If I don't have a real instructor there, I mean, it's great with my Harris is great. That's fine.
Yeah.
And he always does a good team. Lou Netter, was it the one we did in Rhoda? And he went over to have commentation.
good.
And game reporting.
Okay.
And Dave was at the one in Plant City.
Dave. Speaking of him.
Yeah, because he's the chair.
Yeah.
That way we had, because we didn't have a real instructor, we had somebody that speaks for free. You'll know, we know.
Well, you always bring up stuff during your presentation, and maybe they don't step in there.
Yeah, they may or may not. Sometimes, most of the time they don't, but then do their own thing. Dave would step in.
Deegan?
Yeah,
He's familiar with it.
He's familiar with it, yeah.
Let's keep moving. That's my report. I mean, that's basically FYSA and what we've been talking about. It's the president's report. Frank's got nothing, and Frank, we're going to see if he can. He's going to check and see if there's any real problem. We'll get in trouble. He'll get in trouble. If he's on the board as president's position, but he doesn't. But he's the one guy that you could. He did work here. I don't see him on any of these things this year. He's not participating.
What, the referee?
Yeah.
When he can, he is.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an ally. He's an ally. He's an asset. He's a good, and it's our, on the board. And,
Is that? Well, I'll pose a question. Is the past president position that we want to keep?
Sure.
It always help with the continuity.
Well, yeah, it's good. I mean, we just didn't have it. Just the last past president didn't happen to be around, so we just used Frank. He is a past president. We're just taking the more literal translation that he is a past president, not the past president.
Okay.
I think he's been good, man. So he's got an opinion. You never know. Well, if there's no past president, then just hold the thing open, I guess. If I'm dead after this thing, then Well, no, I want to be on the board. I want to be able to be, have this till I'm 90 at least. I'm drooling. Thanks.
Okay.
That was our agreement, right, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'll take over only after 90.
The senior schedules are locked. Obviously, we're not, they have to go to the
Yeah. So have they worked anything out from the problems that they've had at ACDC tournament? The fields at the fields.
Those things work. I mean,
Well, they got to change those games. But I mean, they found out way late that the fields were not going to be able
Every
to.
club has issues.
So those games are gone for that weekend, and we had 3 games. So
She needs to put in.
well, if we can use it, we're trying to use the other fields. That's
Right. Had this come up earlier before they were locked, the
would have been
club
much
could have
easier.
moved them.
Yes.
Now they have to go through the game change request. It doesn't matter. This is the schedules are locked. The button is pressed.
How, you're going to have things
the
that,
button is pressed.
you're going to have.
Schedules are locked.
Yeah.
They have to go through the other. It's not a big deal. It's not a
It's not worried about it. I'm just
That's
saying
what they have to
it
do.
would have been easier a week before that, but we didn't let it. Well, county is not.
Everybody's got problems.
Well, that's why Radis is not going to be ready.
Well, and moved all the games to Monroe. What was the problem?
But then, of course, told us until a week later, the county, because he said, basically told them, I need full field. But to us, that
Is all written.
let's get senior schedules a lot good.
Now,
Business.
sometimes for junior schedules, I'm going to
Well,
do the same thing. Time I have to talk about it. I have to do it now. Well, no,
Meeting too.
this is the board meeting. So, junior schedules are when we talk the
See
junior
it on?
schedules.
Okay. I was on the thing, that's all I'm saying.
What?
I didn't see it on the business.
But I'm just,
Oh, is this a new business?
old business with senior schedule locked, and I'm going to,
Okay.
thing is, I want to talk about the lock while we're got our mind in it. This year, scheduled the senior games. And the
How did that work?
you didn't have a problem.
Oh, what?
I don't think anybody.
I told them, hey, the games are on these fields, it doesn't matter what fields they're on. I asked you, I said, just make them consecutive, you did.
What I'm thinking of doing during the junior games is the same thing, only I'm going to let the clubs see them and move them for a few days. And we're going to open them up to the teams and let them use the game change feature to move the game. Because the teams don't seem to understand what
Yeah.
to do. And there's we still have the fun this year with the senior teams wanting to use the game change request. And it's like, well, it's either or off for everybody. So I could block them, but looking for it because that's what they want to do. So I'm thinking for the junior season, I'm just going to let them put in when they want to change a game to, and I'm just going to move it and be done and not go back to the club.
Right.
Okay?
I'm fine with whatever, I mean, it worked.
Because we're teaching them and we're emphasizing it so much.
Senior one worked.
I know you put that in there, but the request.
So if I can open this up so that the clubs can see it and move the games for a very short time,
Right.
and let them know after that the teams will use the game change request.
Right.
Because I can't lock the juniors from doing it. I can the seniors, but I can't the juniors. Because it's off. So if I block the juniors, I'm blocking the seniors. That isn't going to work.
Okay.
I don't know that, but that's okay, that's good.
Game change request is on for everybody or off for everybody.
Oh, okay.
We have it.
You
By
can't
age.
do it by age.
Not for a separate account, you got soccer as a senior league and a senior league.
That we've done, and it's worse problem. Because we're playing, if the senior season ended and then the junior season started, that would work. But it doesn't, because they both
So you can overlap.
we need them in one, or else we've got.
Yeah, you got all kinds, they got, we'll show up at the same fields.
Yeah. We did it on the schedule.
You could write an app
Believe me, they've got combining stuff in here, and it's just not going to work for our purposes. You want the new business now?
Absolutely. All right, venue set, 8:15, 8:22, Hilton Good. We're gonna be there at 8, yes? Same one we
Yeah,
had.
8 o'clock breakfast for the 11th, yeah, 8 o'clock breakfast. Right.
So we don't have the breakfast?
Mhm.
No, we had a great breakfast last time. We had
Yeah.
protein, it was protein, and, yeah. It was it's better than, yeah, like, rashers of bacon. Every year as it exceeded the FYSA breakfast, because that's either,
Oh.
that's carbohydrates and more carbohydrates. Either some fruit and then the rest is all,
Just got back from a wedding, and the mother of the bride was health assistant, and and was so yeah, we're gonna have yogurt, fruit, all that stuff, and of course
you make that sound horrible, I don't know.
yeah, right, it's like it would be. And the father of the bride says, no, we're gonna have some bacon and stoves and all that stuff. So it's part of the healthy, and
Yeah, it's too late for that. All right, but we got our, and I think we've got, Brian said he'll be there. I just heard from him. I think Lynn will be there, Steve, Mike is gonna leave on fun, but he'll still be there.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, you're here. I don't know, but well, I ask Kai if he can get here, he's seeing what he can do, so.
are you gonna give him
I already asked him if he would, just checking what he's gonna, he might have.
I like Robbie.
Yeah.
All right. We're the JOCs meet with us for breakfast at 8 o'clock. I'm like, we've had about 10 of them respond to say they here.
Really?
And contend, right?
Yeah, but that's never worked before. If we had those guys there, that would solve a
We
huge
would
amount of
go, right.
problems.
So we offered them
Mostly.
breakfast, which is what I did.
Gerald, are you coming to that? Will you respond?
Yeah, I think he responded. Anyway.
For that issue then, you know. So,
Yeah.
what I'll do, I'm gonna drop, I don't have
We need a team plus us. We'll have the meeting.
That's what we're shooting for, right?
And we'll be the 9s and 10s at that time. Okay?
I mean, the biggest thing, just so everybody gets ready for it, is some clubs organize their teams. They got 4 teams. The kids are spread out among those 4 teams equally, so they all develop. Just use those teams as recruiting tools, so they've got the first team, the second team, the third team, and when those 2, so you can't schedule a league properly because the that are real good don't want to play in a team where everybody's kind of, the same, and the guys that are the same don't want to be getting their nose broken every time they go in. The second problem, and Eric Sims brought this to my attention, and he's right, where they have 4 and 5 teams, a club like Auburndale in the past, or Plant City, or some of the other ones, had 1 team, good. They were the best kids from that team, and they concentrated them, and they weren't trying to get 4 or 5 teams. So that team would just whoop up on his 4th and 5th teams, which is what came to USA. So you can't everybody happy. I know the guys from Central Pasco had a problem last year for some reason, and that's a problem until we all agree on the ground rules for this thing, and we never do. He's got a different way to do this. The clubs have different means. All right, so we're there. How about the good of the game? We there?
Right, August 8th? That's what you're right? Are you looking at?
Linda, we going to the Piper Fire Club? When are we going to switch over to our after?
Maybe November.
Okay.
I haven't gotten with Chris to get a key. I know Mary has a key. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one of these weekends. Huh?
It is nice. Have you been in there?
Yeah.
It is nice.
Oh, I know.
It's
Went to
awesome.
Well, he was there for the
Region C.
C.
Yeah, it was great, though. There was plenty of room. If it's wired right, and you said it's wired up like
Perfect.
crazy.
Oh, we connected.
It's way good. We can just set up somewhere and have all our stuff and ba-boom.
No, it's, yes, and I was thinking.
It's a little tougher to get to for some people. That's the one thing.
Well,
But either way, you gotta say that, yeah.
I show Hilton Park.
August 18th is.
Well, the kids are 9 to 10, right? Okay, so it's the 18th.
The 18th is here. It's a referee meeting. Yeah. Let me send you.
The parents, yeah, I mean, that's what it was, the parents, and they wanted to.
I think,
18th, Best Western.
Here.
The guys from Ellen's Club,
We got anybody signed up?
are they that good that they, I mean, you know, I don't know if it's even good. I don't know what the traction, but Jack's promoting it, so it's good.
I had Hilton Park in, I don't know why.
It's here.
But it's, Best Western.
Right. Then Dave is coming to Valrico, and she said she
But everyone's all.
We started that 18th, because that's the only one I could do.
Yeah.
You got one tonight.
Oh, you would have.
You know, whatever
Jack's
day
trying
I
to make money, I understand.
do to
And
find
he's
it.
gonna have all the problems that he doesn't
Anyway,
even,
that's what's left.
can't even imagine yet.
So,
Was it?
that's all I had to bring up with that.
We're past that. We're good for the good of the game. I mean, we'll can talk and see each other Saturday.
We gotta do some fun fishing.
All right. You guys got anything out there, Steve or Alan, for the good of the game? Otherwise, we're gonna.
No, we're good.
No.
For the game, let's adjourn.
So stay on the phone. I can make sure I got everybody else off so that I.
You guys stay on the line. We'll go right through this.
Gotcha.
All right.
What? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
No.
Linda Walker, coach. Something we have to pay every year.
No, that, we just, for the AGM.
And me, we go to that.
Oh, wow. NSCAA. Well, they're not going to do that anymore. It's the last year. I don't think they're going to do it jointly because they feel they've been used. And I have a bunch of stuff, but I'll hand it in to you. I've got them written. You know, I got some things. Yeah, but yeah, so far. I mean, we haven't had one. Well, we have one, but I mean, that is an organization that, I mean, that's a group that takes our, yeah, but that takes the appeals. Yeah. We had one appeal in open session, and that was it, you know.
Okay, so under the impression if you wanted some kind of,
I wouldn't waste any time. You know when you come, you got to use your best judgment. That's what you're there for, you know, to say, we've got a group of, we call them the mentors or whatever, that's going to hear this thing, and it's got to be separate from the board, but we haven't had anything to do. We're supposed to have,
if you wanted some kind of,
one day says you got to have one.
yeah. I thought we some kind of,
No, because
duty responsibility.
no, man, you're going to be judges. That's what it is. That's what it's for. It's if the board cannot hear it, we have a group in FYS. I hope you have them. I said you do. Yeah, we've got a board. It's Gerald